All right, enough Real Madrid. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
Ruben Amorim Sporting beat up Manchester City 4-1. Jules, 3 defeats on the bounce for Pep Guardiola. The last time that happened was in 2017-18, and Brighton are up next.
Yeah, I think it's quite worrying. Although we've seen it before, we've said not so much 3 defeats in a row for the first time, as you said, in 6 years. But last December, remember, they had, I think, 3 draws in a row, and Pep was like, "I'm worried. I can't recognize my team." The December before that, in 2022, he was the same. They were not playing well, and then they won the treble at the end, and they were great between December and the end of the season. So I'm not too worried about them. However, there are things to sort out. Rodri's absence is massive, and he still hasn't worked out how to cover that and how to fill that hole. And they're very exposed, and that their 4-2-4 is quite exposed, and the transitions are, as we saw in this game, are pretty tough to deal with for City. So there's still issues, but it's still Manchester City and Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, we should also point out, I thought they had a couple chances. I mean, they could have scored 3 goals in the first half. They could have been 3-0
up after half hour, yeah.
Haaland missing a penalty. For context, when they did lose those 3 games in a row, back in 2017-18, they had a 16-point lead. And that's when, sandwiched in between Champions League games against Liverpool, which they both lost, they played against Manchester United and lost that one too. Again, when you got that sort of lead, it's a different context. What I worry about a little bit is Haaland's playing a lot. And again, I'm concerned about playing time, about intensity, how that's going to affect you. So I think that is more of a warning. Good news is Kevin De Bruyne close to full fitness.
He was on the bench. Viktor Gyökeres got a hat-trick in the game, and there's plenty of hype of a possible big move. What do you think, Gab?
He's 26 years old. So we see him bullying Simpson, Pusey, or whatever. I don't want to be unkind. 66 goals in 66 games, I think it is. That is a lot by any stretch. If you're starting to think 80, 90 million for a guy who's 26, that would concern me a little bit. The other thing is there is a whole history in Portugal of big, strong center forwards. I mean, do you know who Simon Banza is?
Yeah.
Okay. Most of our viewers don't, so I'm going to tell them. He plays for Brugge. Last season, he scored 22 goals. Yeah. He's also a big, strong center forward.
Yeah. He played in France before.
So you have this context, and before that, you had Darwin Núñez scoring a lot of goals, kind of in that similar thing. You've got
Evan Nilsson, who moved into Bournemouth.
Mehdi Taremi, going all the way back to Brian Deane and Mario Jardel. So I don't know. I think if they are thinking 80 million plus, I think
I think you can go for £63 million in January.
Yeah, I would not spend 63 million on Viktor Gyökeres. By the way, I heard somebody on television last night compare him to Zlatan. I'm sorry, other than the fact that they're Swedish and they're both tall, you really should wash your mouth out with soap. Get Zlatan's name out of your mouth, whoever it was. Hate to go there, Jules, but Atletico Madrid smash and grab at the Parc des Princes means Paris Saint-Germain are currently in the relegation zone.
Well, elimination zone, because there's
just
no
like
relegation.
Being relegated
no
out
relegation.
of the Champions League.
Yeah, you're out. We're 25th in that table. I don't know how PSG lost that game. I really don't. I thought at times they played really good football. They moved the ball well. The movement was good. Hakimi and Dembele and Joe Neves. Zaire Emery scored a lovely goal, and then Atletico Madrid touched the ball 8 times in the PSG box and scored 2 goals. I mean, it's unbelievable. Luis Enrique said after the game, we need 20 chances to score 1 goal. The opposition, they sneeze and they score.
Yeah, you'd almost think you'd have a clinical center forward that you paid 75 million for.
Yeah,
but, hey,
well, they even played him, so things must have been really bad for Luis Enrique to put Colomwani on. It's one of those. It's been a problem all season long. They don't take their chances. They're good at creating them. They're good at moving the ball and arriving in the box. But when you see Hakimi's decision-making last night, on Wednesday night...
Oh, when they had to hear the 3 guys open in the box and he takes it himself.
He crosses when he should shoot. He shoots when he shoots cross. It's just unbelievable at that level. Xabi Alonso's return to Anfield and Bayer Leverkusen get spanked 4-0 by Liverpool. Gab, is this more about Liverpool being good or Leverkusen being bad?
It's both, actually. Like the first half, I thought Leverkusen showed Liverpool a ton of respect. You only had Wirtz and Boniface. He had like the three central midfielders. Normally, like have two attacking midfielders. With Boniface, I thought Wirtz did virtually nothing. And the first half was kind of a boring, grinded out type situation. But then in the second half, Liverpool just took advantage. It's almost like Liverpool lifted it up a gear. He tweaked Curtis Jones's position to great effect. We saw Luis Diaz through the middle, which I really, really like.
Yeah.
I thought, again, and I'm a brave decision, but he's trying something different for that situation against three center backs, Luis Diaz, every single day of the week. And now Leverkusen, 1 win in their last 6. Yeah. And that's if you don't count their win against something called Elversborg, who I think are just a little community of elves in Rhineland-Westphalen. Barcelona romped to a 5-2 win away to Red Star Belgrade. Jules, Flick's fledglings do it again.
Yeah, I mean, they were very good going forward. As expected, 3 assists for Jules Koundé, a guy which the last time happened was Jordi Alba, like 6 or 7 years ago, I think.
By the way, Jordi Alba is a winger who became a fullback. Jules Koundé is a center back who became a right back.
And playing with the old David Beckham boot that the bootmaker is bringing back. So it looked like David Beckham playing, really.
The Predators. They're called Predators.
Yeah, no, I know. I didn't know if we were allowed to say the name.
Predator.
So Jules Koundé impersonating very well David Beckham, but the Highland cost them a first goal because that's how Red Star came back to 1-1. But after that, they just had too much. Rafinha, Lamine again, Lewandowski, 2 more goals. He's on 99 now in the Champions League, and he was taken off by Hansi Flick, who then said after the game, I didn't know, otherwise I would have left him on for the hat-trick and the 100th goal. So it doesn't matter. It will happen in 3 weeks' time. But yeah, they're on fire still.
But I'm with you. I think he's going to use the break to really study and figure out how can I reintegrate Gavi and De Jong and so on and give another dimension to the team.
That's nice. And strength and force to Pau Kubasi because that's a nasty injury as well on his face. Jamal Musiala, I guess the only goal as Bayern defeat Benfica is a bit special.
He is a bit special. It's not funny. It's not a coincidence. I think they lost 2 games in the Champions League this season. Both those games that Bayern have lost. Oh, look, Jamal Musiala didn't start.
Yeah.
I don't think there's even a debate. He needs to start. Bayern absolutely battered them wave after wave. Do not be fooled by the fact the goal came in the second half. Benfica had 1 shot on goal the whole game.
Yeah.
Bodes very well for Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
Lille and Juventus split the spoils. Jules, fair result?
Maybe just about, although Juve played much better in the second half and maybe could have won it. Their expected goals was higher. And they scored a penalty by Vlahovic. But I love the heart that Lille gave. They have 13 players missing through injury. They took the lead in that first half. Lovely goal by Zegrova and David. And basically, they have 3 stars. Chevalier in goal, who's amazing. And the best goalkeeper. He will be the best goalkeeper one day. Zegrova on the right-hand side, who gave the assist, who's good, and then Jonathan David is a wonderful finisher. So that was enough to just get a point, and I think they'd be happy with that.
I wonder if Bruno Genesio has ever beaten Thiago Motta.
That's a good question. I should have looked,
because he's beaten
everybody.
Ancelotti and Klopp and Pep. It's one of our favorite stats.
4 games played and still no points for RB Leipzig as they get battered at Celtic Park 3-1. And Nicolas Kuhn steals the show. Yeah, well, where my Red Bull people at, huh? Where my Red Bull people at? 2 teams in the Champions League, which you shouldn't be allowed to have. And the first one to win a game is freaking Salzburg, 4th in the Austrian top flight, huh? Where my Red Bull people at? Come on, man. Like, this is ridiculous. I was actually really happy about this. I think so. Schadenfreude is a wonderful thing. Celtic were all over them. Again, listless. Nusa missed a chance, which I think could have changed the game, potentially. But even then, they just showed no response. They're just so lame. I know, Parkhead, noisy, blah, blah, blah. They lack leadership massively.
And Nicolas Kuhn, by the way, people made a big deal. Oh, he's a former Red Bull guy. Yeah. I like the story because he is clearly the kind of smallish technical player who is not athletic in the traditional way, in the sense he doesn't seem very physically strong. I don't have his running stats. Yeah. He does not seem particularly quick or particularly high in stamina. But guess what? He can play football. And, he was a Red Bull. He was at Ajax. He was at Bayern. None of these people thought that he could make the grade. I know he's done it. He's just a joy to watch.
Yeah.
Aston Villa lose at Bruges thanks to a penalty converted by who else? Mr. Champions League, Hans van Aken. Jules, any sympathy for why it was given?
I mean, Unai Emery calls it the worst mistake he's ever seen, or that one of his team has ever done. Like Tyrone Mings picking the ball up with his hands on the goal kick played to him by Emi Martinez. Really weird. The referee had to give it. So, no, I don't have any sympathy. Sorry. A late Daniel Malen goal give Borussia Dortmund a 1-0 win over Sturm Graz. Gab, is Nuri Sahin turning it around?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was more impressed with what they did at the weekend than with this.
Yeah.
It took a long, long time. Sturm Graz, not a particularly good size, as you would expect. We did see a debut for U.S. national team player, or current and future, Cole Campbell, who's half Icelandic.